Just waiting for that 5:30. We're good, all right. Call this meeting of the Southeast Polk School Board to order. It is January 22nd at 5:30 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Chad.
Here?
Brett.
Here.
Tracy.
Here.
Bridget.
Here.
Grant.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
Lori.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Letter B, agenda adoption. Are there any changes?
There are none.
All right. Motion to approve. Thank you.
Motion to adopt the agenda?
You gotta say second.
I think Brett got the motion.
Oh, okay,
first.
second. I didn't hear.
I
I'm
can
sorry.
second it.
Okay.
Chad.
Yes.
Brett.
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Bridget.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Awesome. District vision and mission. Aiden, would you like to read that?
Of course. Southeast Polk Community School District will learn, lead, live, success for college, career, and civic life. Engage all students in listening and challenging curriculum delivered through quality instruction.
Well done. Thank you. Please rise for the allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, on to letter E. We've got a couple of different groups here tonight. First of all is the Southeast Polk Education Foundation. I'm not sure who's presenting. Megan, is that you?
Good afternoon. My name is Megan Hoffman, and I'm proud to serve as the president of the Southeast Polk Education Foundation. I'm joined here tonight by my fellow board members, as well as Stephanie Kemp from the Data Center Operations at Meta. She's the director of Data Center Operations. This year, we are thrilled to present $30,000 to educators within the Southeast Polk Community School District to be used to fund grants for 10 innovative classroom projects, 2 of which were sponsored by Meta. The Meta-sponsored grants include multicolor 3D printers, which will be used to enhance students' learning by exploring STEM concepts, MIDI keyboards, microphone, and recording equipment to provide students with hands-on experience with music technology for composing, recording, producing, and performing music digitally. In addition, highlights of other grants include digital cameras for photography and design students, multilingual books, and 2 9-square air sets to be utilized across elementary and middle school PE classes, as well as portable digital microscopes that could be used outside the classroom on field trips or natural habitats. We are very grateful for the support of our community sponsors, including Meta, and are excited to continue our work to support Southeast Polk teachers by way of innovation grants.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. $30,000.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very
Thank you to
successful
the
year.
Education Foundation and Meta. It's amazing. Could we get a picture with them?
Going in front or?
Yeah, you want me to go up front? You guys coming up here too, or?
Make sure you can be seen.
I know. I was like, I know. I'm like, just come up first. Okay, easier. I'm short.
Feel this back? You sure?
We need double up. Yep, we need this way. This way. Unfortunately, our. Oh, everybody, yes. Everybody should be. Everybody should be. Right, oh, yeah.
Here we go. One last one. Everybody smile. Awesome.
First smile right there. I hid one behind you. The other one stuck out though. Wait, once you over?
The Rhythmettes picture's gonna be fun. Figure it out.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next group, the state champion Southeast Polk Rhythmettes. Marianne, would you like to come up and speak, or? No? No?
I'll say something. I think this happened last time and I didn't know I was supposed to talk. I just want to say thank you to Southeast Polk because I am a part of a lot of different Facebook groups and things like that of coaches, and they have nothing but complaints about their school and how they're not supported and they don't feel the support. Where our school, we have people sharing our social media. We have the principal and the athletic director who come and watch us at state. So we feel very supported, and I just want to say thank you for that. And these girls are awesome. Every year it's really hard because, you know, the bar is so high. And every year I think, how can they do any better than they did the year before? And then they always do. So I'm really proud of them too. So good job, girls.
Do you want to go over there or stay back here? Or?
You guys stay back. Yep. What? Yep.
Everybody stand on chairs.
But don't go too far. Yep.
Oh, they.
And then if you guys stay in the back, we'll just make sure that we
We're the ones that don't. They know how to take the pictures. We don't.
I never wear the right shoes.
They can, look at this.
Thank you, guys. He's a very short board member.
Oh, perfect. See, you were right. You guys are professionals at this, aren't you? Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, and one more just in case. Say, go Rams. Go Rams. Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations, you guys.
Good job. Good job.
All right, moving right along to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda?
Again, the early retirements, I'd like to commend those people for their service, their years of service to the Southeast Polk community, and know that we appreciate you.
Very well said.
Brett.
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Bridget.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes. All right, on to confirmation of the next meeting, February 5th and then February 19th. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve February 5th and February 19th is our next meeting.
Second.
Tracy.
Yes.
Bridget.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Brett.
Yes.
I don't know, do we need to point out that we have a workshop that's not on that list? January 28th? Yeah. Okay. On to letter B, staffing plan, fiscal year '27.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Okay, any questions on that? Two bill positions?
And like Joe shared last meeting, that this is pre-knowledge of SSA and full budget implications for next year. And this is something technically you already approved 2 years ago, so.
So I guess that would pose a question of if legislature doesn't fund enough, excuse me, how does that affect the other buildings? Will they have to share? Because I don't think we want to, like, not have somebody helping them. I mean, it's important.
Sure, we're moving forward with this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, because it has already been approved, and this was year 3 of a 3-year rollout.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you meant that legislative still has, I mean, it
I'm
affects it.
preparing you for a phase 2, hopefully phase 3, phase 4 staffing plan later.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bridget.
Yes.
Grant.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Brett.
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
All right, letter C, budget guarantee resolution. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Grant.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Chad.
Yes.
Brett.
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes.
Bridget.
Yes.
All right, letter D, public hearing. I don't have the little sheet here, do I? There we go. All right, it is 5:43 PM. I will now open the public hearing to receive comments on the plans and specifications for the wayfinding signage project. Board Secretary, have you received any written comments? All right. Is there anyone present wishing to provide comment?
Phyllis?
All right, looking around the room, nobody has a comment, so we're going to go ahead and close this public hearing at 5:43 PM. All right, moving on to letter E, approval for campus signage.
I'll
Can I-
move.
Go.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Second?
Second. My mic wasn't on, so I second that.
Thank you. Anyone like to ask any questions on this one?
Yeah, on our, it looks like these will be, some of these signs will be up on the light poles. Is this more used for school time that you want students and staff to know where to park? Or is this, I guess, what would be the reason why we would need visitor or staff parking posted? Because right now they're numbered.
The
And I
staff
think
parking
everything's
is
on the
numbered.
concrete.
Yes, the staff members park is numbered, but for visitors that might not know where to park when they come onto our campuses, not knowing our numbering system, these flags are just better indicators for those folks being able to see rather than up high, rather than looking at the numbers down low.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm still in opposition to this. I don't know if it's necessary to do that. And then seeing that now in there, I'm trying to visualize how, at the end of a day, when somebody comes to an event, how are we going to enforce it? Does it really matter other than that it's maybe West 1, West 2, or when you go to I get it, when you go to a football game at Iowa State or Iowa, you want to know where you park. Even the mall has its section 1 or whatever. I get that point, but I'm not sure why we're,
For the parking flags specifically, so the parking flags themselves are probably the least expensive of what's going on with the signage project. But this is, again, just indicators Mr. Pettit uses communications with parents and students and staff when it comes to parking. But now we can reference those flags rather than the northwest corner of such and such area. Those labels are more prevalent.
so are we going to get away from painting on the concrete then? Is that the goal, or?
I'm not exactly sure. I know Mr. Pettit's here. I'm not putting him on the spot, but I don't know if those numbers are assigned to staff specifically. I'm guessing they are. I'm guessing we will still use those numbers if we're still using that staff assignment for those parking spots.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess if the goal is to get rid of the, where's he at? Oh, there he
I thought he was here, sorry. If he wasn't. Okay.
is. Is the goal to get rid of the paintings as they were? Okay.
No, our painted numbers are for our staff. Those are assigned for our staff. Our students don't have any sort of real signage. Like, we give directions, and we'll say like the far north lot or the media center lot, but there's no like really official labels of those places. When visitors come in and we say, park in the visitor row, well, where is that? Well, it's on the east side of the building, and find the sidewalk, and it's kind of right there, but there's nothing that when you pull off the street that directs you to where that is. So I think that's what this signage is.
Okay.
It's more directional when you come into the campus. You know, activities is this way, visiting parking is that way. Kind of, people that don't know where they're going, I think it's supposed to give them some directions.
So the poles are more of just visual
Yeah.
from the distance, and it's 4 days. We're not expecting, because I just have a trouble with enforcement like after an
There'd be
event.
nothing after school.
It's
So
not.
this is more during the school day when visitors come where they're supposed to go. I mean, it's open parking whenever we have events.
Yeah, okay, and that piece makes sense. On the,
Thank you.
on this big map, thanks, Mr. Pettit, that's an awful lot of signage. How many signs in total are we looking at?
I don't have the exact number of signs, Mr. Handy, but I know that, part of the discussion we had last time is kind of the cost or the estimated cost for this project, and we obviously are cognizant of that. Initially, when this was estimated to me by our architect, they were all lighted panel signs. We've already reduced that to the idea that we would just light the major signs, so the ones on 80th Street, if you will, and some of the other major ones, but the ones that are interior on our frontage roads, we're looking to do an alternate where it's not lighted, where it's just a sign, and no lighting, no electricity as part of that. So I anticipate it being less than what we initially talked about, being $300,000. I anticipate it being much less than that, given what we've done now with the specifications for these signs.
Yeah, and what is that guesstimate? I mean, are we under 100,000?
I don't know yet. In talking with them again, we had to have this public hearing because we thought initially it was going to be over that $206,000 amount.
Yep.
I'd like to keep it under that $206,000 amount just because I know a lot of that work was electrical work for those lighted signs as well.
Yeah, the pole signs make sense, and I think having something at maybe an entrance, but I'm not sure if we're gonna really solve any issues, like I said last time, of people don't pay attention to signs. I mean, but, yeah, so this is just for us to go to bid.
This is, yeah, specifications, to agree to specifications, so we take those to bid. When those bids come back, we have it set up in such a way where we have alternate bids as well, so that we can pick and choose which ones might be lighted, which ones may not be lighted. And we can also pick and choose if we don't want certain signs as well.
Okay. That's all the questions I got for now, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Kelly, excuse me.
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Chad,
Yes.
Brett,
No.
Tracy,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
and Grant.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Next topics for discussion, superintendent report, Dr. Halupnik.
Good evening. I will ask for no pictures, no arranging, or anything like that. But I do want to say, again, a huge thank you to the Southeast Polk Education Foundation. It's just, we're so lucky to have an organization like that, supporting our staff, supporting our district, and it's not something that everyone has, and I don't want us to not realize that and make sure we're thankful. It's second semester. We're officially into the second semester of the 25-26 school year, and we're rapidly closing in on the 100th day of the school year. Board visits, I maybe set a record for all of you being at the junior high at our last visit. Altoona was the same. I think that's 2 in a row then. So Mitchellville is next up, next Thursday at 9 o'clock in the atrium there at Mitchellville.
We won't set a record there.
Let's see, this week, Monday, we had Professional Learning Day, lots of good work accomplished. And kind of speaking of Mondays, next Monday is a busy day. We have the Day on the Hill, and then we also have College Planning Night in the high school commons as well. And then I'll finish off with weather, just to kind of address that one. We have our first day of the year that's affected by winter weather tomorrow with that extreme cold warning, with the wind chill, or feels like being close to minus 36, minus 37, not really warming up until after noon, somewhere between noon and 1 o'clock. But by that time, it's too late really to have school. And so that's kind of part of what goes into that decision. So no school or activities tomorrow. Thankfully, it sounds like Saturday gets a little bit warmer, and I use that term loosely because there are lots and lots of things happening on Saturday, including winter formal. I know Mr. Pettit is very excited about getting that one off and running. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
So with that day off tomorrow, like how much buffer do we still have in our
Sure,
calendar?
we have 1,108 instructional hours built in our calendar. Iowa code is a minimum of 1080. So it's 6.5 hours is a day of instructional hours for us within our schedule. So there's buffer and leeway, and the board has complete discretion on how to handle that.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving right along, monthly financial report, Mr. Bacom.
You have the monthly financials for the month of December in front of you. Ms. Ernst and Mr. Gillen we had a chance to meet our first finance committee last week, so we were able to talk through some of these financial statement items. But just to go through briefly, the general fund, the revenues are up 1.77%. Expenditures are up as well at 4.7%. As far as our increase in personnel costs, that's a 5.4% increase. From a budget standpoint to actual cost, we were 37.7% to budget this year and 37.6% to last year, so we're right on the mark when it comes to the actual to budgeted costs. Interestingly enough, utility costs are down 5.6% compared to last year, which is great job, Mrs. Cole, and the things that we do from a building standpoint as far as energy efficiency. An all-fund standpoint, the revenues are slightly up at 0.7%, expenditures down at 3.8%, but the biggest piece of that is obviously our not doing any construction projects or very little construction activity during this period of time. Gearing up for our budget discussions coming up in the next several meetings, you have heard that the recommended supplemental state aid from the governor is 2%, so we'll be gearing up on that. We had an insurance committee meeting just about an hour prior to this meeting, and we saw our initial increase based on preliminary estimates to our rates for next year, which is the lowest increase compared to some of the clients from our consultants. So it's a good thing, but it's also not saying flat for us next year. So preliminary, we'll get claims through the month of February to make those final as we start moving into that collective bargaining and budgetary time process. So any questions regarding the monthly financials?
So the income surtax is down 22.3%. Can you explain that?
Yes, I actually made a call and an email into the Department of Management. Last year, we received 100% of that money through December. This year, they gave us 75%, and then the additional 25% will come in January.
So we're expecting to still get the money, it's just the
Yes,
schedule.
yes.
What about the Medicaid reimbursement? That's up quite a bit.
That is up, and that's due to some of the work that we've done to just keep more on top of those reimbursement requests, Mrs. Morris's area. The note-taking and getting those paperwork supporting documentation to the spot where we can make those reimbursements more timely. Now, I can't tell you for sure whether or not we'll have more dollars in the end. I can tell you we are receiving more dollars right now through December relative to Medicaid.
Good job, Mrs. Morris. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, committee updates, and I think, Dr. Lubna, you said the finance was the only committee that's met. So I guess I'll turn it over to finance committee members, if you guys want to share a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, it was really nice to be able to sit down. I mean, obviously, this is my 4th board meeting, so still getting my feet wet, but, you know, diving into the finance committee was important for me because I want to help understand better how all of these things work, and specifically the different buckets that we have, right? The revenue we get through property taxes, state, federal, and how we can use those to, you know, pay for certain things as a district. And so one thing I asked Kevin to do for us is to break that down into the buckets so we can see that, see what we have to spend where, and where, you know, when there is an expenditure, what bucket that came from. Just be able to better understand that myself, and then hopefully bring that back to the board as well. So get a better understanding of where all that money is coming from, if it's being, how correctly it's being used, the best way we can use it, and make sure it's used correctly.
Awesome.
I think that's a pretty good summary. Oh, I was going to say, Mr. Gillen did also request, or we requested together, his idea was to get some information of the past 5 years so we can see trends and to see if, you know, we're on par or not. We know there are a lot of elements that go into finances that can impact it, that can cause some variation, but just to kind of, you know, keep an eye on how the trends are going over the years, and, you know, to kind of compare where we are if we're still on track.
Yeah. Understanding different administrative costs, having a new middle school, all those things will be different, you know, 5 years ago, but seeing that a little bit more laid out, we can compare enrollment, all of those numbers, and see where our expenditures are. So I thought that was important, just to have a snapshot of that at least.
Good. Yeah, and I mean, there'll be a lot to talk about too with capital projects coming up and all the different things that we go through in our annual cycle, so, good. And this was for those listening, this was kind of our inaugural finance committee reboot. I guess I'll say there's been finance committees in the past, but we haven't had one for a while. So this is an addition that we added this year so that we could get the board more involved in understanding some of those things. And I think it sounds like it's going good so far.
Absolutely. Okay. Oh, one more thing, sorry. Bridget will also be sitting in on interviews next week.
Yes, so with the change in leadership coming, at a time when we're also have a lot of capital improvement projects approaching, typically, you know, the superintendent would sit in on some of the interviews with the architects, but along with, you know, finance and facilities, but to maintain consistency of someone who will be here through those projects, I'm going to sit on the morning sessions with the architects who are, you know, putting in RFPs. Oh, what? For the elementary school, yes. And then for the junior high, Mr. Daly will be sitting in on those in the afternoon to represent, to have at least another person at the table.
For continuity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. So exciting opportunity to learn more.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for the finance committee? Aiden, do you have questions for the finance committee?
All ears.
Trying to spark some conversation here. All right, we'll move on then. to letter D, the superintendent search update. And we have Mr. Grunmeyer and Mr. Sadoff here to walk us through, I think, the survey results.
Good to see you guys tonight. Dr. Frank Brennmeyer here. I wasn't able to be here. Thank you, sir. Last week when Art presented to you, I was with another board, but pleased to be here and just wanted to say thank you for the chance to serve the district and try to replace Dirk. And a great facility here that we have to meet in tonight as well. So thank you. Art here with us, and we're pleased to share with you some of the results from the survey tonight. I believe you have a packet in front of you, which we consider the report. So thank you for that, Gene. We will go over that tonight, and after we share that, I will just warn you that we'll ask you for your feedback after seeing that information about what kind of desired qualifications you're seeking in the next superintendent as well. And those will be our marching orders as we continue to recruit and start to screen candidates for you in the next step. So we'll jump right in. Here is where we are at in the hiring process. Identifying desired qualifications, and you can see the next steps as we continue the process as well. And before we close tonight, I'll also give you an update on applicants as well. First of all, your participation on the survey, and this was administered through the district before we were actually hired. The survey was out, which was great because we didn't waste any time getting stakeholder feedback, so it was your tool. And then we did the analyzation and put the report together. Just so you know how that worked. We had 301 total responses on the survey. I believe it was sent out multiple different ways. I'd have to defer to Gene a little bit on the different avenues that it was shared, but we had 301 responses that you can see on the screen from different stakeholder groups.
Yeah, and just something with that graph too, to point out the way that you could select things on the survey allowed for kind of a multi-select of, you could be a parent, you could also be a staff member. There are some people that checked all of them, and so
Right.
we're kind of guessing at, like, maybe they were a student and now they're an employee and also a parent in the community, but it could also be they just checked all the boxes. So
That is correct.
there's probably not a ton of weight we can put on that other than just to know that we got a swath of people in different areas, different types of people.
That's a good point, yeah, and that's how the survey was administered, they could check more, yeah. Well, and I'll be honest with you, what we were looking for objectively were the themes, so you might have outliers that were real positive or real negative. It's a survey. We're looking for those themes to bring to your attention. So you can see here on the report some of the challenges that were brought forward, again, the themes, and these aren't in a particular order. Enrollment growth and pressure on facilities, and I will tell you in most districts we work in, your enrollment's going a different direction, so that's a good problem to have in a lot of ways. But your staff and some of your parents talked about, just having adequate facilities for class sizes as you continue to manage growth. Second was student behaviors. I can tell you with certainty, parents and teachers in particular, reported that managing student behaviors post-COVID is an ongoing challenge. I also acknowledge that there's been professional training and things around that and probably continues to be a need in the district and a lot of districts as well. But it was definitely a theme. Employee recruitment, retention, and morale, we did kind of loop those together because there was similar comments in those different areas. And you'll see some of the comments below that are direct quotes from folks that took the survey around recruiting and retaining your best staff and wanting to keep your best teachers in front of kids. And then the last theme that we would share that came out of the survey as a potential challenge and opportunity is continue to manage the finances. We don't know, we just heard, the SSA was 2% or so. So continuing to stay on that as you manage your enrollment growth will be a challenge. Would be a challenge if Dirk was here, and would be a challenge for the next person. There were certainly other comments. We tried to pull out some comments there that were representative of the feedback in the survey, but I can tell you with certainty those were clear themes. Anything to add?
That's good.
Another question on the survey asked about top priorities for the superintendent's first year. And this was an interesting question. Obviously, everybody has opinions, and you as board members get to really drive those first-year goals. So take these for what they're worth. Again, no particular order, but I can confirm that these themes were clear. Relationships was a top priority. Parents, students, staff, administrators, but really taking time to get to know people on a personal level. The district culture. People did not say the district culture was in a bad spot. They said they want to continue to improve pride and culture between buildings and between administrators and teachers and families and community as well. A focus on student achievement. There were people that just flat out said, we know the superintendent has a lot of the operational things to do with finance and facilities and forecasting and PR and all of those things, but we don't want to forget that, students are our focus and achievement should be a priority, which I thought was great to hear on the survey. And then, no surprise, again, the employee recruitment and retention, you'll see us come back as an ongoing theme. And a lot of the comments below, we were really looking for other comments to slip in there, but the recruit and retention seemed like one that was prevailing.
And more than viewing this as problems, these are just the right things to focus on. And as Trent said with the first slide, common kinds of pressures across schools, except that your enrollment growth is a little bit different than 70% of the districts that are facing enrollment decline, but still it comes with the fact that your funding's always a year in arrears, and wanting to do the good things you've already done, like stay focused on class sizes and academics. So when we present a report like this, I think it's important that, again, these are themes that are concerns to your constituents, but they're focused on the right things. And I would say I like the global nature of these versus somebody's upset about X. That's not the place for this kind of a report. So when we get through here, seeing what your community is focused on, then I think the next conversation with the board is, okay, is there anything that they've missed, or is there anything from the board seat, because you have a little different function and a little more knowledge in a lot of ways that needs to be added here.
The desired qualities, you can call these lots of different things, characteristics, leadership strengths, traits that you're looking for. Again, we like to present this report to you as board members, as a voice from your staff and stakeholders, and then you have the privilege and responsibility to provide the direction in hiring the next superintendent. So again, not in a particular order, but these were the top traits or skills that people said they wanted. And again, I'm forewarning you, we're going to flip the script and ask you in a moment here, help us identify what are you looking for as board members. And you can see there visibility and accessibility to the superintendent, top desired quality that people are looking for, strong communication, student-centered decision-making, which again shouldn't be a surprise based on what we presented. Somebody who's strong with integrity and will be honest, focus on relationships, instructional expertise. You can read the list there. It begins to paint a picture for us, and probably you, on what I would call the profile of the next superintendent and what people really want. And so we'll ask you here to weigh in on that and help us define what that is. And then our task as objective search consultants for you is to go look for these things in references and their application materials and their past practice and highlight those for you as we move the process forward. I'll just mention this, and then, like I said, we'll carve out some time here for your feedback. But the survey also asked about advice for the next superintendent. I always chuckle a little bit because I'm not going to pick on your student representative here, but better school lunch and snow days always makes the list. So take that for what it's worth, Dirk, in your last contract here. But there really is a lot of great advice on the survey as well. You can see that, lead with humility, compassion, and genuine desire to listen. And just some really, really good advice. And besides reading that, what I want to tell you as board members is we take that advice from the survey, I put it on a document to the side. When you get your new superintendent hired, we're going to make sure that they see every comment. That was even the better school lunch comments. we'll make sure they have that so they can update an entry plan and hopefully take some of that wisdom and advice and get off to a good start. So we will pause and just get your reaction to what we presented tonight, and then also ask for you to help weigh in, outline, give us a little direction on the top qualities that may be listed, may be identified in the survey, may not be, but we'd like to hear from you tonight on that.
Was there anything that you saw when you were doing your analysis that surprised you? Was there anything that jumped out that was, wow, we really need to address this, or was it all, because most of the stuff is kind of what I would expect, right? That
Yep.
you want a leader that can communicate, that's visible, that's student-focused. Those things are all part of our core values. But I don't know if there's anything that, as you were going through it, you're like, oh, wow, like that was a surprise.
There was not any, oh, wow moments. I will use your words and say that. I would say the one thing that didn't necessarily show up in the survey that I'd offer is somebody knows that there's multiple positions that that are going to influence their cabinet and that they're going to have to influence. And that wasn't a worry, but that is something that didn't come out as a theme, but was noted.
Okay.
But was noted.
I think one thing I appreciate, and again, not really surprising, but there wasn't complacency in the survey, which is nice because you have a lot of great things going on. I mean, you have great opportunities for students. You have high achievement, you have growing enrollment, lots of good things, but people are still very focused on getting better, on maintaining getting better. So from a school board, from a district standpoint, I think that's great to see. So again, not a surprise, but sometimes we do see that where people are they're pretty satisfied. But here you can tell there's a culture of high expectations, which is a good thing.
This is an opportunity for us right
Please.
now to provide kind of our feedback criteria.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone wants to go first.
I'll go.
Thank you.
One thing I think we need is the next, and it's not really listed here, but we need someone that can look at an issue, a problem, and handle it and get it taken care of. Not delegate it out, but is not afraid to sit back and watch. I mean, it's okay to sit back and learn the first year, I get that, but we have issues, and all school districts have issues. And I think sometimes we've got to have someone not afraid to take those on and clean them up and move on.
Thank you.
We've been very lucky, I guess, as a board to have Dirk where he puts up with 7 of us. I mean, every superintendent does it, but not like a board like this. And I'll be his number one problem probably, but he always picks the phone up, takes our calls and makes sure that he listens. He doesn't blow us off and act like, oh, I was busy or whatever. So he always finds time for our nonsense, and so the next person that comes in, we obviously want to have a good relationship with him, and we don't, I mean, I'm sure there's tensions sometimes, and Dirk probably goes home and is like, what the heck's wrong with these people? But that's going to happen, but I mean, how long you been here? 12? 11. So, it seems like it was just yesterday we hired him, so I mean, it's just weird that we're doing this again already, but, so I guess I just want whoever comes in to, have an open mind, don't be like, well, you hired me to do a job, I don't want to hear it. We've also been hired to do a job, in a sense, by the people, and we're not, and this comes off, probably bad, but we're not always on the side of the administration, we're not always on the side of the parents. We've got to try to find a happy medium, and he does that well and knows that, okay, I get it, you're listening to the people, the teachers, and he absorbs it all in, and whether it goes your way or not, he makes a decision and go on. So that next person, I really want to kind of have the same trait in that and just listen, do whatever he needs to do or she, whatever they need to do to get the information and then make a decision and not well, it's gotta be the board's way, it's gotta be this way, or whatever, just that open communication, so,
Take it all in, make a decision, communicate.
yep.
Got it.
And I look at the superintendent position as, you know, almost a town mayor, right? Where they're gonna have their day-to-day administrative and working with their cabinet and all those things. But at the end of the day, they need to be the face of our school district as well. And being present not only to the board and to the district office, but throughout the whole community as well. So looking for someone that, you know, isn't afraid to go on all these visits that we go on as a board and with administration, I think is really important. You know, somebody that it'll help instill trust, right? Especially in that first year, getting around, knowing everybody, being open to, you know, having meetings and, you know, with not only the board, but with individuals in the community, those kinds of things to really get to understand and know what is going on in Southeast Polk.
Sure, build relationships beyond the district.
And that was kind of going to be what I was going to say, because Southeast Polk very much has a unique culture and, you know, is keeping up with the applicants as they're coming in. You know, a lot of them they're not from the area. I'd love to know their plans on how they, you know, are going to get acclimated and get to know the culture and understand the community in which they'll be leading.
I think the things you're mentioning, this is a perfect time to have these be priorities, because your new superintendent will have an entry plan. They're going to have these same goals. They want to do well on these same things. So you as board members, you have a golden opportunity to provide reinforcement when they do a good job with it, or provide guidance if they are missing some aspect of local culture that you know that they don't. My guess is that they're going to want to form very good relationships with the board right away, because that board superintendent team is such a critical thing. So, you know, it's an opportunity to get off on the right foot, do the right things right away. That's why it's really valuable for us to hear it straight from the board at this point too, because as we talk to candidates, we can emphasize those kinds of things so they know that coming in.
And I would add one advantage that you have is the timeline, thanks to Dirk. You should have a smooth transition with 4 to 5 months where you can start to build community relationships and culture and get to know the admin team and staff even before they're on contract, depending on location and how many days they can give to you. So I think that will be an asset in all the things that you're offering as well.
I think you hit on this, you know, as the item that wasn't listed, is that they'll have the opportunity to build a team with a lot of the other higher level retirements. And I think it's really important to have someone who has some experience doing that and who can bring the best out in that team to be as, you know, high performing, because all of that just trickles down. That impacts, you know, everybody else in the organization. So if we have someone who's a really strong leader, you know, is good at building those relationships and that trust and choosing the right people to come to the table and drawing the best out of them, I think that will benefit, you know, our students, which are the biggest focus. I love that student-centered decision-making. You know, one thing I've appreciated about Dirk, it's like when we have had conversations about some things that have been like frustrating, like certain things we've heard from the community or, you know, contentious issues, it's like, it's just about the kids, you know, like there's always been that focus. And so to me, that really stands out to someone who, like, when it comes down to choosing what's right, making the right decision, that is about the kids at the core.
It's good, keep the focus.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, on the point of being able to hire their team, because you get some people that come in that have experience other places, which is kind of, you know, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. We're on a path. I think we've got a lot of good things going on here. So I don't think anybody, and I think that's what makes people nervous, whether they'll admit it or not. This is a nervous time for some, because what's going to happen? Some have been through, you know, several superintendents here, some good experiences, some bad experience. And you have that with everything. But I think the biggest thing is, what's the future leading to? Are they going to come in and make a big change? And I think as long as they know when they come in, just take some time to learn, because with the top 3 positions that are leaving, you could have all three people outside, you could, who knows? I mean, depends on the candidates. And so I want to make sure that they ease into it and make people feel comfortable that I'm not going to come in here and upset the apple cart, and I'm not bringing just because I did something at another place that may not fit here. But we also have some things that maybe what we're doing is going to be good to bring in as addition to help support. So I want to make sure that all our staff and just everybody in general is at ease and can kind of just do their job and build that team and ease into things and don't just ram things down everybody's throats. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, what I hear you saying is don't come in just to make change to change.
Yeah, I mean,
Truly,
we've
if
got a
you
lot
want
of
to
good
make
things going
change.
on, and with the administration that's left, and, you know, I don't think that's gonna happen, but, you know, you just never know. I mean, it worries me, because, I mean, we have a lot of good things going on, and we got good staff, and it's gonna be hard to, you know, you got three people at the top that are leaving, and it's like, oh, that's kind of, and it's all good reasons, it's retirement, it's not because they're being told to go. I mean, that's the plus for everybody, so.
But we're not looking to change the pathway that we're headed and have been working towards. We don't want to go in a whole different direction, I mean, curriculum-wise, et cetera. Also, and this has come up before, I just want to say it, it's preferred that they live in the district. We're paying, a lot of money for someone. It's expected that they live in the district, if that's at all humanly possible.
Yeah, and I think on the posting in our conversations, it's very easy for us to say preferred, and I think superintendent candidates today understand that. That's ideal. Preferred and required, two different things, of course. You know, you can't require it necessarily, but you can incent it to, with reimbursing moving expenses and things. Sometimes that's frequently done. So that'll be a known thing. And I think any candidate who takes their time to do their homework on Southeast Polk is going to see that the district's not on fire. They're not going to have to, build something from the ground up. I think the approach of most of your candidates is going to be to come in and listen and learn. And I think you as a board, you'll be able to have some discernment as we do reference checks, background checks, look through experience. I think you'll be able to do some discernment in terms of their style. Are they, do they have a career of being a change agent and coming in and redoing everything a couple of years? Or, have they had a career with more stability? I mean, there's a lot of reading between the lines that goes on too, and a lot of conversation between now and a job offer being made. So I think it'll be exciting for you as a board. It'll be fun to get to know people. You already have quality candidates in the pool. I'm confident, because we put so much emphasis on fit throughout the whole process, that we'll be able to deliver candidates who are qualified and a really good fit for what you need right now. And that's why we're listening and taking notes right now too, because we don't want to assume anything. I mean, we know your district, but you have local knowledge, we don't. So we appreciate that opportunity.
I'd like to hear from our former educator over there, Mrs. Dawson. Me? Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I just want somebody that's willing to listen and mean what they say and say what they mean.
Honesty, integrity was in there, and I hear you kind of reinforcing that.
I don't want a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Be direct, be honest.
Thank you.
And then we have our student rep here, Aiden. I'll give you a minute of think time. I'll say a few things and then let you chime in too, because I do want to hear what you have to say. Some of this is probably a little bit of reiteration of what's in the survey as I was going through it, but one term that came to mind was community builder. I feel like we have a great community here, and we want to continue to build on that. And some of the things, transparency, communication, being visible across the district, people feeling like you're part of this community. You're not like, I guess, kind of what Lori was saying with living here, but it's just like that you're here, you're always present and available. And that's not different than what we've had with Dr. Lupnick here. We have a lot of exceptional leaders in our district, so I feel really good about that. Building leaders, teacher leaders. So yes, we're losing a lot at the very top, but I think we have such a great system and great people in place that hopefully whoever comes in can not do a 180 or a hard left turn, but can help us continue to grow on that path that we're on. And I think building the community is a big part of that.
Community builder.
Student focus was another thing that was student achievement. And I think achievement, obviously, this is an educational institution, we're teaching. But I think also not to put that on its own without like mental health and social emotional supports and along with that. We have some great people that are promoting that, developing those things. I think we want a leader at the top that understands that, kids have to be, they have to be fed, they have to be taken care of on an emotional level to be able to learn. So we've got kids that show up with all kinds of different circumstances, the invisible backpack, that they bring. So that's something that we want to make sure that we have a leader at the top that understands that. One of the phrases I saw in here that you highlighted in the quotes was financial architect.
Yeah.
And we've got one of those over there, Mr. Bacom. But I think having somebody that, it's all about prioritization, right? We don't really control, we control a little bit, but not a lot of how much money comes in, right? The state tells us the SSA is 2%, then we got to figure out what to do with it. So a leader that's able to really help prioritize that to maximize student achievement, that's not like an uncommon thing, but I think with the context of the world that we're in right now, with uncertainty, I'll say, both on funding and on growth, or maybe people moving from public to private education. There's a lot of factors going on right now that make that even more challenging. So somebody that's really able to dig in and prioritize how we spend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Aiden?
I would say it would just be from a student body perspective, just again, student-centered decision-making is honestly what we would like to see. Also, visibility and stuff, and just being open to the student body too. Like I know it sounds like the student body will just say like, oh yeah, we want a 3-day weekend, we want this, this, and this. But there is a genuine like population of students that care about this district, that understand that this district is giving me a launching point for my life, for my career, for whatever I want to do. So having a leader of the district like kind of tell us like, this is what's going on, giving us the rundown, not like in a full in-depth way, but just being honest with us. Like if, let's say a student brings up a proposition or an idea, if that leader goes up and says, yeah, that's possible, or it isn't because this, and this, that wouldn't hurt that student. It would hurt them if you listen to them and just kind of like, okay, walk away, never talk to that student again. So honestly, that communication, community building, it's what this student body would definitely want most out of a superintendent, and something that we want to continue, because I would say Dr. Lupnick's just been a great superintendent already for us, and is someone that obviously, like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of anxiety for the student body. They're just going to be like, what's next? Who is it going to be? We're just worried. So we would like someone that's just willing to talk to us, is all.
Well said.
Good answer.
Yeah, be careful now, we have people listening tonight, we can't scare people away with these big shoes to fill here. So. Thank you.
It is kind of hard for me, like, some of our board members have been through multiple superintendents, and they can kind of do a little bit of a comparison of what I like about this person or that person, and having only been on the board with Dr. Lepnick being here as a superintendent, there's probably a lot of things I take for granted. So that's something that I'm hoping they're able to fill in some of those gaps of like, hey, you know, it wasn't always this way. So we're not necessarily just looking for Dirk 2.0, you know, new ideas, new styles would be just fine. I think that we can embrace that, but I think a lot of the things that he's brought to our district, we want to continue doing, and we want a leader that, like Brett said, picks up the phone, talks to us, talks to families, is open, transparent. I think we want to continue those things.
Yeah, and we hear that loud and clear. The other thing I would ask for your help on, and I'm looking at Dirk on this as well, when we get somebody hired, we can't assume they know those things or will intuitively figure those things out. I think it's on us to have the conversation, tell them what's working and what you want to continue. They will glean some of that from the hiring process, but I think we have to be explicit about that, not just the goals, but also the process things that are working well. So we'll do our part, but we don't know all the internal processes that are working well either. So. Any other feedback in regard to desired traits that you are seeking? And we do appreciate the guidance. The last two things we would leave you with, and if you wake up in a cold sweat, you can still reach out to us. You have our contact information. If there's something else you want to offer or, as we continue the process. Speaking of that, here is the next couple things coming up. Our application deadline will end here on Sunday evening. We've given you the applications each week, and they'll be in the folder. You know what will probably happen here. You usually get the largest pool of candidates right at the end. So I'm just forewarning you that they will probably be coming, and I'll give you an update in a minute. If you're marking your calendars there, February 12th and 13th, or when we have dedicated to screening candidates, that would be here in person with those semifinalist candidates that we identify.
And February 5th is when you're presenting the pool to them.
February 5th, yeah, I'm sorry that wasn't on there. That's correct, yeah. And then February 25th, we have dedicated to our formal interview day.
Yeah, and I guess the other date on there, to next Wednesday, the 28th, we're going to sit down with you guys and talk through more of the interview questions and things like that in
Yeah.
a workshop.
Just yesterday, we started working on some interview questions, because now we have your survey down. We feel like we can start to put some of the questions together, so we started. We'll take your feedback tonight. We will send you in advance a draft of some questions, probably too many, and then we can start to whittle down and add your questions, but it'll be a good starting point. Yeah, that's the 28th.
Yep.
Here is your update on applicants without names. You, as of, I believe, 7 o'clock this morning, roughly, you have 11 submitted, 8 in progress, different stages, or waiting on application letters or recommendation letters. So that is where we are at with applications. And then we have a couple things that we are focused on. I just wanted to acknowledge some of the things we're doing to try to, bump that pool in the last week or so here, including a webinar tomorrow and newsletter coming out, some of those things. So we always like, the more numbers is great, but more importantly than that is the quality of candidates, and that's what we're after.
I have a question on the question, like the interview questions, because we have
Yeah.
two phases essentially. So we have the initial, and then the other one. And Chad and I kind of talked a little bit about this the other day. It's like, well, I guess the first question would be is, based off of what the information's in here, you kind of come up with some questions off of that.
We do.
How do we, and I have in my mind, I guess I just want to hear, how do you formulate the questions that all these people over here want to, like, they're in the meat and potatoes, and they want to know, dig into this person's head, like, we're like, we know a little bit, but we don't know everything, and I don't know how you can come up, so I'm interested in how you come up with all the questions based on this. I guess so I'll let you answer that. And then I've got another kind of question on,
Yeah, what we try to do is take a stab at looking at those themes that you gave us, saying what would be questions that would help get to that. And we can either take questions from administrators or from board members and help wordsmith them to get at that. Our general philosophy is with screening, example questions are great, but you got an hour with somebody, you want to ask, those big rock questions, right? What are we trying to get at with finances and stability and leadership style and, those type of things? Then when you have more time with them, you can ask usually more of the more detailed questions. So the other thing will come up is, hey, great question. Is that a broad question we want to ask in screening to get to know somebody? Or is that something more detailed when we have more people around the table to ask? We'll help guide that.
okay.
In our workshop, we're going to fine tune the.
No, I know that, I'm just
Right.
asking now to make sure, because I guess my other point is, and Chad and I kind of talked about that, and we kind of figured that was probably how it's gonna go, is, different questions for each process.
Right.
I think what I heard you say in there, and if I'm out of line, board, tell me, never done that before, but, I'm interested in some of these folks out here of, what do you want us to ask this new person?
Sure.
Now, unless you're gonna be a candidate, don't even bother. Don't bother putting in a question, because then you'll know the question, but, so I guess, is that inappropriate to say, send me some questions from the administration?
Or
And then we can give them to you, and we can kind of figure out what portion, because I really wanna, even though the 7 of, we have to make the decision, they also have to work with that person, and I want them to at least feel like they've had the survey isn't just enough to say, well, here's my thoughts and questions.
Yeah, no, that's certainly appropriate, and then the feedback that we gather too, gives all of your interviewees a chance to, to respond to how questions have been answered, and how they've experienced the candidates. But yeah, it's definitely appropriate if you want to do some collection and bring that. We do try to, the initial stage, I would go along with what Trent said. It's a little more global, and it's definitely aligned to those themes.
Yep.
But it's not at all uncommon for us to come in with questions that are perfectly fine questions, but maybe they're not quite specific enough or pointed enough for a local situation or a local need. And that's why it's important to kind of beat those up and wordsmith them a little bit. And yeah, we'd be more than happy to look at questions from your administrators.
One other thing I want to add, Brett, that we talked about once, but I want to bring back. This is a little different, but we found great success with this. When we do screening, we will ask you permission to identify maybe half of the questions and flip them and give them to the candidates ahead of time. And what we find in that process is you will quickly see who is most prepared, who did their homework, and they're a little less nervous about the interview, so you get a little more authenticity from your candidates. So when there's questions in my mind where we ask them to do some homework, or we ask for specific examples, those are ones that are often in the screening stage, right? That hour with them, some questions that we will ask you, is this a good question to flip and give them in advance?
Yeah. And then, the last thing, so when we get our groups and we're kind of finalizing our group, getting people identified of who's gonna be from the community and then the staff and so forth. If we have those groups of 20, I think we decided on 20 in each group with, minus the board. Do we have 20 questions, or do we, what's the recommendation on that? 'Cause
Yeah, that's, it depends on the schedule. We usually schedule an hour and 15 minutes, and 20 would definitely push that. More than likely, we'd have 16 or 17, and then, because we want to reserve some time at the end for the candidates to ask questions too, and to have a little bit of give and take. So 20 would be a lot for that.
Well,
It's
and
usually
that's
a
what I
few
kind of
less.
thought, but we kind of went back and forth. It's like, well, how is the groups gonna work? Because when we talk to them and we ask them to participate, are they just there to listen? Are they gonna be asking the questions?
Yeah.
But they're absorbing everything.
Yep.
And we
Yeah.
just wanna make sure that, hey, we want you to be a part of this group. You may not get to ask a question. The questions are gonna be picked ahead of time, and we only got so many. So I guess
Yeah,
that's why I
think we
asked
can put your mind at ease a little bit with that too, because the consultants meet with your mixed groups before we begin, and we have a little question review. It's not unheard of that there's even tweaking of the questions at the last second. Maybe we just missed an area that's really important to some people in that interview, and we can potentially cross one out, put a new one in. We ask them how they want to ask the questions. It's very typical that they round robin it, that they read a question, go on to the next person, just to stay involved. We have places for them to take notes and score, and we hope they're very engaged with that process. And then that also assists with the feedback that they give us electronically right afterward. So we are talking with the groups, and we have them introduce themselves to the candidates before we start, just so the candidates can see who's in the room. So we definitely try to make our mixed groups feel at ease, and we definitely emphasize their importance to the whole process, how important their feedback is to you. And if there is some area that, like I said, we've just missed, we can make a change on the fly right there.
As long as we're asking the formal questions to each candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, same questions, correct.
So is that true even with, like the mixed interview groups?
Yeah.
They have to ask the same
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah. Until you get in the Q&A or the candidates asking questions, that can be very conversational.
Okay.
But we will be there. I want to give you peace of mind. This is clear as day to us, because we do it quite a
Yeah.
bit. Our goal is to get in front of this and help you understand what we're going to facilitate and what we feel is best practice every step, but also keep in mind that we're working for you, and the way you might want to do it might be a little different than the next district, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm asking some of these questions because obviously this is a public meeting. I want to make sure we're transparent with the community of what we're doing, because our next meeting is going to be deciding these questions, and they're not going to get to, obviously, know. Some of these conversations may happen there as well, but.
Right. I would say before that meeting, if somebody, and I turn around looking at Jean, she may, gonna have to bring her chocolate, but if somebody could capture some of those questions and either send them to us in advance or bring them to that meeting so we can really be productive, that would be super helpful. And I also want you to know, we're gonna, provide those questions to you in advance so you have time to digest them and bring feedback and ideas as well.
Okay. So, yeah. So,
Yeah, I think
if anybody has a question.
we could work with Jeannie on that kind of outreach to gather some questions. People could provide those, and then we could send them to you and
Be great.
work through all that together.
Yeah, we've got them started, yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody object to that?
To what?
Oh, you're not even paying attention, huh?
Well, you guys were talking about the groups and getting questions. I think I heard that part.
Anyway.
I'm talking about,
Objection to asking administration.
No, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
we're gonna be the ones in the workshop to decide what questions we're gonna ask, so, but anything
Right.
can be submitted. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
It's a different perspective.
Just don't want you complaining later to me.
I got lots to complain about, believe me.
I know.
Any
I'll shut
other
my phone
questions
off
on
tomorrow.
process we can answer for you folks tonight?
Yep, helps me.
Yeah,
We look forward to next steps and appreciate your time.
yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate you coming out. Motion to adjourn?
Okay, a second?